Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Abbott and Costello Meet the Podcast, one that I've decided to call The Wheelers on the Bus Go Round and Round. I'm Jerry Shario, and it is my pleasure to present to you our host, the man with the golden throat, providing he hasn't already sold it, Nick Santamaria.
Yeah, I sold it to Trump. He used it in the Oval Office over the gold leaf toilet plunger. But
yes.
yeah. But anyway, no, that's the title you gave it. Seriously, I mean, ew. I was thinking maybe the Wheeler and Woolsey, the RKO boys, or maybe Wheeler and Woolsey. Whoa! But anyway, we'll let the audience decide which one they would like to choose. Now, Jerry, how you doing? First of all, I want to bring everyone up to date. Jerry is back from Fort Myers, Florida.
Yes.
Where he played at a very beautiful theater. I visited him there. And he finished up his run of Wizard of Oz, where he played the wizard and Professor Marvel. And you're home now for 5 days after a whirlwind of excitement in beautiful Fort Myers, Florida.
Yes.
How's it going there, Jer?
So far, so good. I'm trying to get used to the fact that I don't have to go to the theater twice a day anymore.
Because your room didn't have a bathroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were, our schedule had 50 performances over, 6 weeks. So averaging about 8 shows a week.
Yeah, it's like Broadway.
Yeah, very much so. You know? Very much so.
It's like Broadway with food.
Yeah, that is a major plus. Trust me. I mean, they paid well, but then to not have to spend money on food twice a day was a plus. You know,
that's the best thing about dinner theater. You know, because I've never played it, but it's fun to be there and eat while you're watching. You know, or before you're watching. Basically, it's when everyone's burping. And I know those Fort Myers audiences. Hey, hurry, let's have a fish. So anyway, here we are, episode 55.
Yes.
I have to say that 5 is my lucky number. And that was established when I was very, very young. And it was because there were 5 Marx Brothers.
Oh.
There you go. My email address is nsm555. That's 3 5s. There are 5 Marx Brothers, but 3 that I love. 3 5s. Get it?
Wow. Yeah. So those 3 5s stand for Chico, Zeppo, and Gummo. Is that right?
Absolutely. And Manfred. No, actually not Gummo. It's Manfred. I didn't have room for Gummo. Oh God, here we are chewing the Gummo. But Marx Brothers. Let's talk Marx Brothers. Actually, let's begin. First of all, we're going to be talking heavy duty Wheeler and Woolsey based on suggestions we've gotten from our audience. I do have some emails to read to you. I will get to them. But first, I want to talk about yesterday on TCM was Groucho Day. Every August is, they call it Summer Under the Stars. And they have one star that they feature each day. And today's Susan Hayward. So there's a lot of tears and booze on the television right now. Hey, this booze tastes salty. That's because my tears are in it. So the Marx Brothers, they showed every film, and of course they waited until the middle of the night, way in the middle of the night, to show Go West. As I was watching Animal Crackers, I know that my buddies at the Marx Brothers Council podcast, that's their favorite Marx Brothers film. Coconuts is like their second favorite. They love that. It's the stage, people. It's Broadway. And I get it. You know, I totally get it. But I don't get how you can put up with all the crap about the painting and whether Oscar Shaw is going to get a contract to, build a thing on the swampland. I really don't care. And to be honest with you, the jokes are getting really old. So, I had my fast forward button and, Animal Crackers, yeah, it's the Marx Brothers. It's probably the Marx Brothers at their best performance wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, the movie's just not that great, and it's way too long. So anyway, I decided after watching some of the films last night, I decided that the Marx Brothers made three great films. Then they
Okay.
made a few good ones and a few terrible ones. I don't count Love Happy because it's not a Marx Brother movie. It's a Harpo
Fair
movie,
enough. Fair
right?
enough. Yep.
Okay. It's atypical. It's not a Marx Brother movie. But everything else, you've got my favorites, Horse Feathers, Duck Soup, and A Night at the Opera are their three great films. Everything
Mm-hmm.
else, even Monkey Business, sorry, it falls apart after like 45 minutes. And I have to say that one of the less popular opinions that I have is that when I would go see the Marx Brothers movies in with a live audience, which was quite often in Los Angeles. I
Mm-hmm.
lived there for 25 years. You see a lot of Marx Brothers on the big screen. And people are going to laugh because they're supposed to. I'm sorry to say that, but these jokes are so familiar. Your father comes up to you and tells you the same joke, for the 30th time. You're going to laugh? No, that's why I love Harpo. Harpo stuff is still fresh. You can't get sick of the jokes because there aren't any. It's just him
Yep.
being wonderful. Uh, so, I and I want you to know that since the age of 5, I have been a Marx Brother fanatic. I'm the one that when my mother came into my bedroom, can't you put a picture of Jesus Christ in here? I'm like, Mom, he never got laughs, There were like 89,000 pictures of Groucho and his brothers. I was ahead of the game. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not a Marx zombie anymore. Those people left
Mm-hmm.
over from the late 60s, early 70s. And now, even the people on the podcast, I listen to them and I just kind of roll my eyes sometimes and say, no, sorry, sorry. Mm-mm. It's like Disney zombies, It's like, no, they're not
Yep.
nice. No. Anyway, that's just my opinion. And here's another thing I want to say because I've gotten a couple of nasty emails or whatever it is, messages. And they're nasty only because they don't allow me to have my opinions. They get on me for it, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I have to let them know that art is subjective. Opinions about art are entirely personal
Yeah.
and subjective. So my opinion has nothing to do with yours. I respect yours. I want you to enjoy yourself. Give me the same rights. Okay, that's all
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say. Because from now on, when I get one of you jokers, saying, "Oh, how could you like so and so and you don't like so and so?" I'm going to say, you know what? I don't like you, and I'm going to block you, and that's that. Okay, I'm just getting a little tired of it. Sorry, kids. That's my Marx Brother rant. Although I did buy
Yes.
coconuts and animal crackers in 3D. I tested them out, just watching the beginnings, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to say they have done a beautiful job. I haven't listened to the commentary yet. I look forward to it. But boy, oh boy, if you're a little hesitant about this 3D thing, don't be. It's a lot of fun, and they haven't ruined the films. It's just a novelty, like colorization.
Now, just for clarification's sake, for maybe some of our listeners who aren't totally familiar with this process, these are these two films. They're on disc, and you just need the glasses, right? You don't
That's
need
it.
a 3D TV or player or anything like that.
Nope, nope. You just put on the
Sweet.
stupid looking glasses, you sit there, and you hope no one sees you, and you watch the films. And I have to say, boy, right from the very beginning, that Paramount logo, it shoots out at you. It's incredible. It's like, Mom, I just got hit with a mountain. I'm seeing stars. Oh boy. But anyway, so that's my Marx Brother news and how I feel
Okay.
about the Marx Brothers. Anyway, so let's move on. We're talking about Wheeler and Woolsey here.
Yes.
And by way of introduction, and Jerry, I want you to help me with this.
Yes.
Um, I can talk about Laurel and Hardy's relationship, their characters, not the real people, their characters on film.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
could talk about that relationship all day long and not repeat myself. Okay. It's like
Yeah.
there's so many nuances, or there's so much nuance, I should say. There's so much behind the characters and their love for each other and their hatred for each other, everything. It's just a whole world they have, just the two of them.
Yeah.
I want to try and do that with Wheeler and Woolsey today. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not sure that we can.
Yeah.
They, although they are manufactured just like Laurel and Hardy were. Laurel and Hardy were two separate actors put together, and they happen to blossom and become the most beloved comedy team of all time. Sorry, Bud and Lou, but it's true.
Hmm.
Wheeler and Woolsey also thrust together, and it just doesn't, it's not the same. It's just not
No.
the same. Now I know there's my friends Brian Page and Anthony Gargano have started a new podcast that should be up, I think, August 21st, I think they said, or 22nd. It's about, talking about classic comedy. Keep your eye out on that. But they heard how I felt about Wheeler and Woolsey, that I thought they were a second tier team. I think they disinvited me from their podcast as a guest because, let's face it, I'm honest. I'm honest about this stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. And Jerry, you and I, or you and me, I think that's proper. You and me, we are performers.
Yes.
We know what it takes to get a joke across. We know what it takes to even write a joke. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like,
Hmm.
so these are educated opinions. And if you haven't been on a stage and you've never written comedy, we know more than you do. That's all there is
Yeah.
to it. So,
Yep.
that's what I wanted to tell Mr. Gargano and Mr. Page. I know more than you do. I've been on stage for 50 years. You can't compare. So show a little testicle and have me on. And we'll talk about it. But anyway, that's my plug for that. Yeah, I want you to look for it. He told me the name of it, but I can't think of it right now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's get to before we get to Wheeler and Woolsey deep dish. Let's look at the emails that I received that I said I would
Yes.
read.
Yes.
This is one. I love the way it starts. This is from Jackie Adamson. Dear Nick Santa Maria, I'm glad. Well, that covers that. Hiya, neighbor. Thank you and Jerry for keeping the legacy of Abbott and Costello alive through your podcasts. As I hope Jerry Shario is well, considering the Spokane, Washington fires. So, Jerry,
Mm.
take care. Also, thanks for the Abbott and Costello podcast on Wheeler and Woolsey. That's coming up. That's today. As I list some interesting items, please feel free to comment. Now, this is fun because we're going to get to it anyway. Number one, Burt Wheeler and Lou Costello were both born in Paterson, New Jersey. Burt in 1895 on the Irish side, and Lou in 1906 on the Italian side. Number two, even though Wheeler and Woolsey were not a fully formed comedy team before entering Hollywood, neither were Laurel and Hardy, as both teams were in the 1931 short The Stolen Jewels. Yeah, they both appear, but separately. Number
Mhm.
three, in 1932, Wheeler and Woolsey and the Marx Brothers were in 11th place for the top movie box office stars. That I'm hesitant to believe. I know Carl Phoebe, and he is the king of box office records. He has them all. That's where you go when you're writing a book and you need to know this. And he told me personally, he went through all the Wheeler and Woolsey films compared to the Laurel and Hardy films features, and Wheeler and Woolsey didn't come close. They were like a fraction of Laurel and Hardy's audience, but they were still the number two-man comedy team. So there was Laurel and Hardy getting great numbers, and then Wheeler and Woolsey making a profit, but not a huge one.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, so I'm not sure where you got that 11th place information from, but it's not that I don't believe you or I think you're lying. I'm just saying this is what the expert told me. Number four, in 1934, oh, here we go. George Spanky McFarland of Our Gang appeared in the Wheeler and Woolsey film Kentucky Colonels. Also, Spanky, born in 1928, shares the same birthday with Bud Abbott, born in 1897, and Groucho Marx, born in 1890 on October 2nd. Yeah, that's true. Although I wouldn't place Spanky McFarland anywhere near those two guys. Spanky was funny for about 2 years. Now, the reason I don't like Kentucky Colonels, and it's not a bad movie. It's okay. But Spanky ruins it for me because he's so dull and so humorless.
Hmm.
Uh, he was just starting to become self-aware, and that's when he lost it. That's when he wasn't
Ah.
cute anymore. So I don't find him cute in that movie. I think he's annoying, and every time he breaks the glass, I want to hit him in the head. Um, Number five, in 1933, Marjorie White, who I love, appeared in the Wheeler and Woolsey film Diplomaniacs. In 1934, Marjorie White appeared in the first Three Stooges short, actually the first Three Stooges Columbia short, Woman Haters, and that's true. And she passed away literally weeks afterwards in a car accident. Horrible tragedy. She was very, very young. Again, thank you and Jerry for your Abbott and Costello podcasts. If you could read my email on your podcast, great. I would appreciate it. Sincerely, Jackie Adamson. Jackie, I'm sorry, but we can't. Uh, Thank you for that, Jackie. That was very interesting, and it opened up a few things. John Hayes, Wheeler and Woolsey question: why don't you like Kentucky Colonels, the greatest movie ever made, as much as I do? I think I covered that. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. Sorry. You must be a an R gang fanatic. Um, and what is this now? We have Russell Babcock. What a wonderful name. Nick, I would first like to say how much I enjoy your podcast. You and Jerry do an incredible job of reminding listeners that Bud and Lou were real people that were extraordinarily talented, but also human beings with personal faults like the rest of us. I do have a question. I remember the controversy surrounding Ted Turner's efforts to colorize classic films in the 1980s, and we've all seen examples of colorization that were poorly executed. In recent years, however, colorization technology has improved tremendously, and I have seen instances in which it was done tastefully and effectively. Although I enjoy black and white films and firmly believe the original versions should always be preserved, I wonder whether carefully colorizing some of Bud and Lou's more popular films might help introduce their work to younger generations. Under no circumstances should the black and white originals be replaced, but I could see value in offering well-produced colorized versions as an alternative. What are your thoughts? Russ Babcock. You have the greatest name in the world. Chester Babcock was the name of Bob Hope in Road to Utopia, and that was the real name of Jimmy Van Heusen, the songwriter, Chester
Ah.
Babcock. How do you like that? Is he related, Russell? I don't know. Um, I want to tell you how I feel about colorization and messing around with old movies. I'm all for it. Sorry, but I've seen these movies 8,000 times, and any changes you can offer me are welcome. And I'm one of those people that don't touch the original film, leave it alone. It's preserved, it's there. But you know what? That colorization, that new colorization is absolutely stunning.
Hmm.
And I want to see it. And I want to see 3D, and I want to see it projected onto the butt of the nun that taught me when I was little. I want to see it under every circumstance. Why would I do that? Why would I say that? I didn't even go to Catholic school. But anyway,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Sherry, you look tired
Well,
already.
yeah. I haven't laughed this much in a while. I have to cut in here and say I agree with you on the colorization thing. I had for the longest time been totally opposed to it.
Yeah,
And then I saw Laurel and Hardy's Babes in Toyland
gorgeous.
colorized. And
Just
even
gorgeous.
that, it's not that was a while ago. So it's not top of the line process, but
Right.
still it adds so much to that movie.
That movie
And
I will only watch colorized.
yeah, me as well. Me as
Hmm.
well. And I think
Yeah.
Mr. Babcock's comment there about specifically selecting one or two Bud and Lou movies to
Yeah.
have colorized, I can go along with that as well. I think that unfortunately the two best candidates are already in color, but
No, that's
um,
true. Yeah, that's true. But they had some footage they did for Abbott and Costello and Me Frankenstein on YouTube, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's
mm,
gorgeous.
yeah,
And I want to see the whole film that way. I want to
yeah,
see, what are they in the Navy would be great in color.
mm,
Out on the ocean on the ship. I could think of a bunch of Abbott and Costello movies I want colorized. In fact, I want them all colorized because I really don't care if it's new, if it gives me something fresh to watch.
Yeah.
Because I've seen these movies, I can't even tell you how many times.
So let me ask you a very pointed question, my friend. If
Okay,
it
and you
were
are pointing,
colorized,
ladies and gentlemen. He is pointing as he says this.
yes,
I'm not kidding.
yes. And so my question is, if it were colorized, would you watch Lost in Alaska again?
No. I did have to think about it. No, actually, yeah, I would. If it were colorized, yeah, I think I
Yeah,
would. Again, it gives it a whole other thing, you know?
it
So,
does.
and
It
I've,
does.
I love Abbott and Costello movies. In fact, I still go back to them more than I go back to any other classic films. But to have them in color or even in 3D, like this process, it would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Imagine Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein in 3D. Hey,
Wow.
yeah. Pry it from my
Yes.
dead hands, from my cold, dead hands from Charlton Heston. Okay, so let's get to our boys today. Let's get to Mr. Wheeler and Mr. Woolsey. Let me give you a quick biographical update on them, starting
Yes.
with the older of the two. That's Robert Woolsey, born in 1888 in Carbondale, Illinois. That's what I've read. He was a little guy and he decided he was going to become a jockey. And he did until he was thrown from a horse, broke his arm or whatever it was,
Mm.
and he decided to do something else. I can imagine him flying off the horse, yelling, "Whoa!" Um, which really makes sense in a way. But he decided to get into shoe business, so he joined stock companies. He was an actor, basically, and he eventually started barnstorming with these stock companies, playing various roles. And eventually he started gaining a reputation. Now, here's the interesting thing about him, and we may have mentioned this before, but this is about Wheeler and Woolsey. Robert Woolsey was actually in a play with the great Walter Catlett. And Walter Catlett was the star comedian in this production, and Woolsey was lower down. But then Catlett got called by Ziegfeld and wanted him to be in a version of the Ziegfeld Follies as a
Hmm.
comic. So Walter left this company, this road company, and Robert Woolsey took over his place and started imitating him. He actually wrote to Walter Catlett and asked if it was okay. And Walter Catlett said, "Of course it's okay. Do whatever you'd like. It's fine." Well, he did it for about 20 years. He became Walter Catlett for 20 years with the cigar and the glasses and the delivery, the wise guy delivery. Now, here's the proof of that. Again, I think we mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. When they were doing Rio Rita on Broadway for Ziegfeld, that's when they were first teamed up. But Bert was the star comedian, and Woolsey was the second down. He was you know, billed lower down. He
Yep.
wasn't the star comedian, but the two of them worked very well together. And Woolsey stayed for about, I don't know, 9 months maybe. And then he went off to do another show. And who replaced him? Walter Catlett. Now, Walter Catlett stayed with the show longer than Woolsey did, but he decided to go. He had to go to another project, and Woolsey came back. And in that short period where he came back, RKO came knocking and said, "We want to do the movie. Let's take these two guys and we'll do it." And that was the birth of Wheeler and Woolsey. It could have easily been Wheeler and Catlett, actually,
Yep.
probably Catlett and Wheeler. But yeah, how interesting, you know? And
Wow.
yeah, and that telegram from Walter Catlett still exists. The one that to Robert Woolsey saying, "Go ahead, feel free, take it," you
Wow.
know? Yeah. Pretty interesting. So anyway, they went to Hollywood to do Rio Rita, and that's where they met Dorothy Lee, my good friend Dorothy Lee, and they treated Woolsey like crap. Wheeler was the star. Wheeler was a
Mm.
star comedian, not just
Hmm.
vaudeville, but Broadway.
Yeah.
And Woolsey was a supporting comic. He was in Poppy with W.C. Fields as a
Mm.
supporting player. He was not anywhere near the star position.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was very lucky to be where he was. And the two of them formed a partnership through their popularity of Rio Rita, but the front office was not convinced about Robert Woolsey. They thought, Wheeler, you could do no wrong. Woolsey, we've got about three other people that can do what you do and will
Wow.
easily replace you. So he was very on tenderhooks
Yeah.
for the first few years of their contract at RKO. He didn't know what they were going to do. Eventually, when the team became solidified with the audience, uh, he realized that he was making profits for the company, and that's when he became Lou Costello and would go to the front office and raise holy hell. So that's the Robert Woolsey story up until their partnership. Burt Wheeler, of course, our friend Jackie told us, he was born in Paterson, New Jersey,
Hmm.
in 1895. So he was, 7 years younger than Robert Woolsey. Why is that? There's always a gap of like nine,
Yeah.
7, maybe 10 years. Bud and Lou, Ollie and Stan. Well, Stan was only
Hmm.
2 years older. But anyway, so Burt Wheeler, he's a shanty Irishman, is how he's described. And he, at a young age, went into vaudeville. He learned how to tap dance. He got married to his wife Betty, and they became a hit starring act in vaudeville. Burt and Betty Wheeler. Burt did an amazing impression of Charlie Chaplin, and that
Hmm.
became a big part of his act. Chaplin, in fact, told him that he was his favorite of the imitators. He
Ah.
wrote it on a picture, on a photo of Burt. Uh, Interestingly, Burt and Stan Laurel were good friends in Hollywood. They were good friends. They got together often. They talked all the time. And when Burt finally moved out of Hollywood, which he hated making movies, he wanted to be in New York on a stage facing an audience. Um,
Hmm.
Stan made fun of him like crazy. Stan was sitting home one day watching TV, and there was a show for children that came on called Brave Eagle about a Native American tribe and the trouble they get into. Brave Eagle gets into, and there's a little kid character that goes along, and Burt Wheeler plays Smokey Joe, an Indian, a Native American. Smokes a pipe. He's got the long hair and the big hat and everything.
Yeah.
Stan almost had a heart attack laughing when he saw this, and he immediately called Burt. It's like, oh my God. So but poor Bert, he couldn't catch a break. Once he finished with Woolsey, they tossed him, on the garbage heap. Um,
Mm.
but anyway, Bert was the star. And to be honest with you, I think he was the better performer of the two. I think he was
Mm.
a better comedian. But anyway, that's my opinion, and we'll talk more about that. So, so Bert and Bob, I mean, Bert is with Betty, and Betty leaves him for a dancer, and immediately is shuttled off to obscurity land, and Bert becomes a star on his own, and not just a star, but a Ziegfeld star.
Hmm.
Rio Rita is a huge hit. The boys are sent to Hollywood to make the movie. It's the biggest grossing movie at RKO until King Kong in 1933.
Wow.
Rio Rita was 1929. Yeah, yeah, incredible. But okay, so Wheeler and Woolsey are making movies, and their characters. Let's talk about their characters.
Hmm.
Um, you've got Bert, who was the innocent, baby-faced um, lover. He's romantic,
Yeah.
uh, and he's very funny. I just love even the way he talks. I love, gee, Professor, she's a swell kid. He had that very little and kind of a boyish voice.
Yes.
And the other one
Yes.
was, that's right, son, that's right. Uh, Always saying things twice. Robert Woolsey. Uh, he's like in Goodfellas, Jimmy two times or whatever it is. Hey, I'm going to get the papers. Get the papers. That's Woolsey. I'm going to get the papers. Get the papers. But anyway, so you think about the two characters, okay? You've got the fast talking wise guy, who's a little bit like, I don't want to say he's like Groucho. I always called him the Midwest Groucho because he didn't have
Mm.
that East Coast edge and
Right.
his delivery was not the greatest. In fact, there are so many jokes that he kills, uh, putting in extra words. Now, I've been a joke writer for 50 years,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I know what I'm talking about. There's a certain rhythm. You have to cut away
Hmm.
the fat, and voila, you have a joke. Woolsey used to, he'd add a word, that just kind of threw the whole thing off. And I know I'm not explaining it well, but he would say something like, yeah, never sneak up on me again, you, or something. No, that's not a good one. But anyway, as I listen to Robert Woolsey, I see his
Yeah.
weaknesses. I see that he wasn't really a comedian. He was a comedy actor. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, playing this character. Now, I told Jerry to watch three movies in preparation for this podcast. One of them is Diplomaniacs, The Nitwits, and
Nitwits,
High Flyers,
high
their very
flyers.
last
Yeah.
film. Okay, so I thought that would
Yeah.
be a good selection, an early one, a middle of the road one, and the very last one. So I saw Diplomaniacs with a full house on a double
Mm.
bill with Duck Soup.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And here's my thing about Wheeler and Woolsey. Wheeler and Woolsey had a lot of the same writers that the Marx Brothers had, but it's almost as if they gave Wheeler and Woolsey the stuff, the dross, the stuff that fell away, the stuff they didn't want to use, and they gave it to Wheeler and Woolsey. I firmly believe that. When you see Harry Ruby and Burt Calmer on the credits, you know it's their second rate material.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just not as funny. It's not as funny. Duck Soup got, the roof fell off a few times. That's how much people laughed. And then Diplomaniacs came on, and it was like, what did they mean by that? Huh? What?
Mm.
It became all of a sudden it was dated, you know, and that's Wheeler and Woolsey. You take your chances. And this is a good one. This is one I like, Diplomaniacs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, it's part of that whole slew of movies from the early 1930s, Depression era, when people were thinking about socialism and doing something different from democracy because the Depression was so bad. Does it sound familiar,
Hmm.
by the way? Um, uh-huh. uh, but people were worried at this point, and the movies
Yeah.
reflected it. They were mythical kingdoms or mythical countries being run by complete lunatics, and the movies were just absolutely insane. So I'm talking about actually Wheeler and Woolsey had the first one called Cracked Nuts. The second one was Million Dollar Legs with W.C. Fields and
Hmm.
Jack Oakey and a whole slew of comedians. The third one, I believe, was Duck Soup, and then maybe Diplomaniacs. But it's just crazy. It's like a series of these films. And I know by the time Duck Soup came out that the audience was a little sick of them, so Duck Soup didn't go through the roof as much as they wanted it to. It made a profit,
Hmm.
but not what they
Yeah.
wanted it to make.
Yeah.
So Diplomaniacs is a crazy, nutty, irreverent, um, how can I put this? There's one of the biggest blackface numbers you'll ever see in your life. There must be 100 people in blackface. Um, and
Well,
it's
not only do you have that, but you also have Hugh Herbert in yellowface.
oh, that's right. He plays a Chinaman.
Yes,
But I have to say, he's very funny. He's one of the
he
funniest things in the
is.
movie.
He is. He's one of
I,
the better written characters in that film. Yes.
yeah, I think so too. And I love the relationship between Bert and Marjorie White. I think they were very good together. I
Hmm.
love the song they do. Sing to me, let it gush.
Yes.
You've got rhythm that makes me blush. So sing. And whatchamacallit, she's a force of nature. She's just incredible. Charlie Hall shows up and does a funny gag. He jumps out of a window of a ship. Louis Calhern, who came back as Trentino in Duck Soup, one of the great foils of all time.
Hmm.
Um, who else is in Diplomaniacs? A lot of people. Richard Carl
Edgar
is the
Kennedy.
Edgar Kennedy is there for the blackface number.
Yeah.
Uh, remember, it's the Geneva Peace Conference, and there are bombs
Yep.
going
Yep.
off and people getting
Yep.
shot, and it's pretty funny. It's a movie I like very much. It's not a movie that makes me laugh a lot. I can't say that, The very
Yeah.
first gag, right? Now, let's talk about this, Jerry. The Indian gag. The movie opens on a title card over an Indian, a Native American, and it tells
Hmm.
us that Native Americans don't have any facial hair and they don't have any sideburns. And then you cut to Wheeler and Woolsey as two barbers on an Indian reservation. And Woolsey said, "And you wanted to open a barber shop on an Indian reservation." That's the first gag.
Yeah.
And I remember being totally flummoxed by it when I first saw this movie. And this was years ago. I was like, that's the gag? That's the opening gag?
Yeah.
I guess they had to tell us that, Native Americans didn't grow hair like that. And now I know. It didn't make me laugh, but now I know. Um, they go to vaudeville jokes that are older than they are put together.
Hmm. Hmm.
The whole thing about the whatchamacallit, I grew hair on a billiard ball. Really? What did you do with it? I sold it as a coconut. That's the joke. See, this is Wheeler and Woolsey to me.
Yeah.
They're both dressed up to be funny. You know, when I first got Leonard Maltin's movie Comedy Chains, when it first came out, 1970, I
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Wheeler and Woolsey existed. They did not show them
Hmm.
in New York, and I had no idea who they were. And I
Yep.
remember being annoyed by the pictures of them. And I know this sounds funny, but to me they looked manufactured. Woolsey looked like, he was trying to be like Groucho, with the cigar and the glasses and all that. And even the stuff I read, the jokes they were like bad Groucho jokes.
Yeah.
And Wheeler, I didn't know what to make of him. He looked like sort of a Harry Langdon-esque, you know,
Hmm.
baby face guy. And I
Yeah.
just thought they were annoying looking. And I never saw them. I never heard them. So I went in wanting to really like them. When I first moved to Los Angeles in 1979, I went to a video store, not a DVD store, a video store, one of the first in Los Angeles. They sold strictly public domain product. So I got my first Wheeler and Woolsey movies there in 1979. I was 19 and I saw Half Shot at Sunrise, Dixiana, most of it,
Hmm.
because it cuts off. No, no, the Cuckoo's cuts off at the end. And what's the other one in public domain? Not Rio Rita. Oh boy,
Was
Half
that
Shot at Sunrise.
was that
Hook, Line, and Sinker.
Hook, Line, and Sinker? Yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoyed them. And I thought to myself, I could get into Wheeler and Woolsey. This is good because
Hmm.
they're not especially hysterical, but the movies are a lot of fun. They're the period that I love most of all, and they're songs and dances, which I love. You know, so I gave them a full chance, and I became hooked on them. You know,
Hmm.
and I notice a lot of people do the same. They become hooked on them, uh, even though they won't admit that the movies are just not that great or the comedy is not that great.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, that's my Wheeler and Woolsey story. What about you, Jerry? When did you first encounter these guys?
Well, similar. First encounter was Leonard Maltin. I also had a copy of that book from day one, and
Hmm.
I had never seen anything. Didn't really impress me much. The photos in the book, take
Right.
it or leave it. I was not compelled either way. I think the first one I ever saw was Hook, Line, and Sinker.
Hmm.
Uh,
That makes
bought
sense.
bought a copy of it because it's Wheeler and Woolsey, and I don't know them, and I like comedy, so here we go.
Hmm.
And yeah, I enjoyed it. Most of their films that I have seen, I can say I enjoyed watching them,
Hmm.
but not much more than that.
Yeah,
It's
I get you.
yeah, everything you've been saying, and I'm amazed that you saw this one, Diplomaniacs, in a double feature with Duck Soup, because Louis Calhern and Edgar Kennedy are in both of them.
Yep,
In Diplomaniacs, they've got a joke about "Hey Nani Nani" and "Ha Cha Cha."
that's
They
right.
do a riff on "All God's Chillin'."
Yep.
We got guns, that sort of thing. But I have to say, my favorite moment. Unfortunately, it was in the blackface number, but somebody was really thinking because Woolsey's got those thick black framed glasses,
Yes.
but when he was in blackface, he had thick white
white
framed
glasses.
glasses.
Now I'm going to have to correct you here. It's not a correction really, but it's an addition. That was
Yes,
actually created by Eddie Cantor back in the old days, back in his vaudeville days. When he did blackface, his
yeah,
glasses were white.
did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's where they got it from. Or it just
Yeah,
seems like a natural thing to do, basically.
yeah,
So you came upon them pretty much the same way I did, through Malton
yeah,
and then
yeah.
renting whatever you could get your hands on at some point.
Yes, and they were not very prominent in my areas,
Oh
in the
no.
Boston area. I
Chicago, they
honestly,
showed them.
yeah, I honestly, well, I know they were never shown on Boston television. I
Right.
can attest to that, or else I would have seen them. Once video rental, video sales started catching on, they really weren't they weren't available.
Mhm.
I'd heard about some of these. Dixiana was one, and Peacherino was recommended to me as well. And
Hmm.
ultimately, I was able to see both of those. I think I've got copies of both of those now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it to me, everything you've said, surprise, everything you've said, I agree with. They were individual performers whose names were put next to each other on the credits. Is the feeling I got,
Yeah.
as opposed to Laurel and Hardy were brought together, and Son of a Gun, they clicked.
Hmm.
Bud and Lou, they clicked.
Hmm.
Wheeler and
Yeah.
Woolsey, not a whole lot of clicking. They were entertaining, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, definitely, definitely entertaining. But like the Ritz brothers, who I personally love, but like the Ritz brothers, I have to say, the Ritz brothers, to me, their material was not the greatest,
yep,
but they were so entertaining,
yep,
with their songs and their dances and the faces and the way they walked and all that stuff. It it overrides the weaknesses in the comedy. Okay.
yes,
Wheeler and Woolsey
yes,
have that to a certain extent because they were both musical. They both danced a little. Well, Bert
mm-hmm,
danced a lot.
mm-hmm,
Robert
yeah,
had his own style, and they both sang. They both sang on key and together. And that was my favorite part of the movies. The reason Hook, Line, and Sinker uh, fell flat with me is because there was no music in it, and you had
yeah,
Dorothy Lee there. Uh,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so to me, it was like room service without the harp and piano, or duck soup without the
yeah,
harp and
yeah.
piano. Whenever you see a Wheeler and Woolsey movie and they don't do anything musical, move on. go to go to the next one. Uh, because that's what to me that's what they do best.
Sure.
Uh, so yeah, so Diplomaniacs could have been a lot better. It's good for what it is. There are things I love about it. I love their spoof of Ernst Lubitsch movies. When they wake up and they're sleeping together and they're both dressed as women, and their butler is there's a gay joke with the butler and all this stuff. It's
Yeah, yeah,
all Ernst Lubitsch from Paramount in the early 30s, and that's brilliant satire. It really is.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love their song that it leads into. Here we are on the boulevard, on
Mm-hmm.
the boulevard. Ooh la la la, la la la. And the Sing to Me with Marjorie Wright, I think Wright is wonderful. So yeah, there's some wonderful moments.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'd give it like 2.5, maybe 3 stars, this one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
for its strong points. But let's move on. We're talking about, I wanted to go through a few of their films. Their early films are a little tough because they laugh at their jokes constantly.
Yeah.
Like Jack Pearl. I wrote about Jack Pearl recently, and he laughs at jokes to alert us that a punchline is coming. And it's like we can't figure that out for ourselves. We need Jack Pearl to tell us. There's
Yes.
only two comedians I like who laugh at their own stuff, and that's Chick Johnson from Olsen and Johnson and Red Skelton. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
But these two guys, oh, they're always commenting on each other's jokes and blah blah blah. It's like they're holding the script and reading the jokes, you know. Um, and the people around them, just oh, you're so amusing. I just
Yeah.
the movies again, they've got their strong points, and I'll tell you the truth, most of them are my friend Dorothy. Let me tell you about Dorothy Lee.
Yes, please.
Dorothy Lee was in most of their films. and she was always the love interest to Bert. And Ed Watts, the author, wrote the definitive book about Wheeler and Woolsey. Uh, and this was years ago. This was like, I don't know, 27, 28 years ago, he wrote this book. And I got in touch with him because I wanted to start a Wheeler and Woolsey fan club and call it the Diplomaniacs. That's how much I was into it. I was really trying my best. And, so I wanted to put out a newsletter, and to kick it off, I wanted to include an interview with Dorothy Lee. I knew she was still alive and living in San Diego, and I wanted to, talk to her. Ed Watts gets in touch with me immediately, gives me her phone number. I call her up, I leave a message. One day, about 2 days later, I come home, my message machine is blinking. I hit the thing. Hi, Nick. It's Dorothy Lee. I hear you want to do an interview. Here's my number. Call. That's what she sounded like. But you could imagine how excited I was. I love
Yeah.
Dorothy Lee. Um, and we got in touch. I did the interview with her, and through the interview, we became such close friends. I mean, to the point where I would call her and I would imitate Bert singing, and she would sing harmony with me. I love you so much. I can't conceal it. I love you so much. It's a wonder you can't feel it. That. And she would sing with me. Unfortunately, by that time, she was in her 80s or early 80s, and she
Yeah.
had way too many cigarettes. And she
Mm.
enjoyed her cocktail at the
Yeah.
country club every night. But she sounded like this. She wasn't that little girl. And she would try to imitate what she sounded like in the old days. And it was so
Oh.
funny. She was just amazing, just an amazing person.
Mm.
And for most of the years that I knew her, I was on Broadway. And Dorothy was on Broadway about 50 years before. And we
Mm.
loved hearing all the gossip and about my show and this and that. She became a very, very dear friend. One of my one of my greatest keepsakes is when I was in the producers, and I was at the St. James Theater, and it
Hmm.
was Christmas time, and I have a message from the front office from Dorothy Lee wishing me a Merry Christmas, sending my love, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I still have it. I will never part with it.
Wow.
And I was the last person to tell her I love you. Here's the story. And I'm going to,
Mm.
you know what? There's a book out about her. It's called Dorothy Lee, The Wheeler and Woolsey Girl. And I wrote the foreword. And it
Hmm.
was reviewed by Laura Wagner in Classic Images and Films of the Golden Age.
Hmm.
And she actually said, and she's a toughie, she said it was the best foreword she's ever read. Isn't that something? Seriously, you
Wow.
can go back and look for it. That's the exact quote. And,
Mm.
of course, I wrote to her and I thanked her and this and that. But it's a beautiful story. It's the story of my relationship with Dorothy Lee.
Mm.
And there was a moment there where I talked to her at least once a month, at least, usually twice a month. 2 months had gone by and I hadn't had time to call her. And I felt terrible about it. And I called her. I thought, she's getting up in years. I better check up on her. A male nurse answered and said she's in terrible shape. She can barely breathe.
Mm.
Uh, she's in bed. I could put the phone next to her. And I'm like, please, if you could, that would be great. She came around and she spoke with me. I mean, she couldn't talk long. Her breath was
Hmm.
very, very labored. This is from years of smoking. Oh, God, so many cigarettes. Um,
Mm.
and she died. After I said, Dorothy, I love you. And she said, I love you, Nick. And I hung up and I found out that about an hour and a half later, she passed away.
Mm.
So it's very likely that I'm the last person to tell her that I love you. So
Yeah.
that's my story with Dorothy Lee.
Wow.
And boy, does she have opinions about these movies. Oh boy, Dixiana, it stunk. Um, whatchamacallit, The Cuckoos. I sent her a copy of the restored version. She hadn't seen it since 1930. And she was like, Where were they pointing the camera? My whole musical number was behind people. I didn't recognize myself. And I'm like, Dorothy, you're sounding like Bud Abbott. No, I'm not. It's fine. And then she would slap me. Um, but anyway, she had strong opinions. I know she loved the number that she did with Bert in Peacherino, from
Hmm.
Niagara Falls to Reno is a great number.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's really a good film. I like Peacherino. It's no,
Yeah, it
again,
is.
structurally it's a mess, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love the dance they do together, the two of them, where he throws the dummy of Robert Woolsey like about a foot, or 3 feet away. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's a goodie. But yeah, she had strong opinions about the movies. She had strong opinions about Robert Woolsey. She was not crazy about Robert Woolsey.
Mm.
He was tighter than a snare drum. When she got married for like the 75th time, uh, he said to her, Lee, you're going to have to stop with these weddings. I can't afford the gifts anymore. Uh, so it was her and Bert. They got through it together, and Bert always used to remind her, just take the money, cash the checks, just cash the checks. So that's what they did, and Bert just couldn't wait to get back to New York. So anyway, that's Diplomaniacs. Let's move on to the Nitwits. Now, here's where
Yes.
this one's important because Wheeler and Woolsey were basically a pre-code act. They were considered a dirty act. Seriously,
Mm.
dirty.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, they were adult comedy.
Yeah.
And they suffered the most, I think, when the code came in 1934. All of a sudden, their movies became almost commonplace, you know. Uh, and The Nitwits is a miraculous movie, and I'll tell you why. It's one of their best, and this one I give three, maybe 3.5 stars. That's how good it is.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it's made during the censorship time. It's not pre-code, yet it's still got a lot to it. It still comes across as a very funny, compelling film. Um, Dorothy is not in this one. It's Betty Grable, young Betty Grable,
Yes.
right? In 1935,
Wow.
and Auga, yeah, young Betty yeah, she was something else. But anyway, it's a really good comedy mystery, reminiscent of Who Done It with Abbott and Costello,
Hmm.
taking place in a place where there's music and all that stuff. It's not a radio station, but it's like the Brill Building in New York. It's where the songwriters work, and that's what it's all about. Uh, but I feel like it's really terrific. They
Hmm.
came off.
Hmm.
A lot of people turned their backs on Wheeler and Wilson because they weren't doing that kind of naughty stuff that they did in So This Is Africa. So they cut it into ribbons. The Nitwits is actually quite a fine comedy.
It
Now, I
is.
want to say that again, there is a finale that is one of the funniest finales you will ever see in any movie anywhere. Okay. This is where I compare them with the Marx Brothers because A Night at the Opera, by the way, their final scenes in A Night at the Opera are just unmatched in their
Hmm.
delightfulness. They're so Harpo, they're just so funny.
Hmm.
But in this movie, uh, Willie Best, the black actor, comedian, is a big part of this film, and he gets involved with a crap game with a bunch of his friends, and the murderer. It is a murder mystery. The murderer is dressed like this horrible skeleton creature, and he's running around. And of course, all the black guys get scared. Their eyes get bigger. They run through walls. Everything. But it's shot so fast and funny.
Yes.
It's George Stevens. George Stevens directed this movie.
Hmm.
The same George Stevens who directed Giant. Wait a minute. God, I hate that movie. Um, the same George Stevens that directed all those great comedies and great movies during the 40s, even into the 50s. But he stole this finale from Hal Roach. And it was from a Boyfriends comedy. I don't know if you know the Boyfriends. It was a
Hmm.
series of films starring Grady Sutton. Well, fan my brow. Dave Sharp, the stunt man, but he was
Hmm.
also a young actor. And the third one was Mickey Daniels, who's no longer a child, from our gang.
Yeah.
And he had that wonderful laugh that, whatever, I can't do it.
Yeah.
My lungs shoot out of my nose when I try it. But those are the three guys. And the girls are usually Dorothy Granger, Gertie Messenger, and Mary Cornman, who was usually teamed up with Mickey Daniels in our gang. But they made teenage movies. They weren't our gang movies. They weren't kids,
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
weren't Laurel and Hardy adults. They were in between. And the movies are terrific. They're terrific comedies. So if you ever get a chance, look up The Boyfriends and check them out. They're really, really funny. One of them had this finale in George Stevens land,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
they used it again. They used it at the end of The Nitwits, and it works like a charm. It is just, if you could let go of the stereotype stuff, realize that that was the time. And
Yeah.
believe me, if you're Irish, they were making fun of the Irish. If you're Italian, God, they treated us like crap. So, it's like, okay, let go of the prejudice and all that stuff. It is hilarious.
Yes.
Uh, and the movie itself, there's some decent songs. There's Woolsey's lie detector. Uh, that actually, that's the closing gag in the movie. And there's this really bizarre song, a reprise of a song that Bert sings to Betty, but they're on stilts. It's the middle of the night. They're on stilts that are like 100 feet tall because they want to get to not Dorothy, Betty's jail cell, which is on the second floor. So they have to wear stilts. It's really nice. It's really bizarre, and
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So, what do you think about the Nitwits, Jer?
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 3.5.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah, and talking about yeah, who done it flashed into my brain. I don't know how many times during
Yeah,
the course of the movie. And
yeah.
Arthur Treacher.
Oh my God, he's so
Arthur
funny.
Treacher. He's this poor sap trying to buy tennis equipment, and it's a well executed gag. Woolsey collides with him going up and down the stairs, and
Yeah.
the tennis net and the balls and everything. But it's played so well and done the proper way. You get three of these,
Yes,
and
there are
they
three.
and they
Hmm.
build. It's just so.
And
And
it
to
is. There's a
see,
build.
yeah, and to see that it's Arthur Treacher of all people.
Yeah.
First of all, he doesn't strike me as a tennis player, really, but you get the feeling that he's buying the equipment for his master. He's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
butler.
Right. Right. Who's leaving for England on the next ship? Right.
Yeah,
And he's got to bring the equipment. Okay.
technically, the staircase is very well done. It's like they build this at least two-story, if I was counting it correctly, possibly three-story
Yes.
set of a stairway, and the camera will crane up and crane down as
Yeah.
they're dancing and singing up and down this. It's very well done, very well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, really, George Stevens, because
Yeah.
he was a very good director.
One of the best, I think.
Yeah, and I got to say, the one gag, one physical bit that I had to look at least three times. bob Bob Woolsey, of course, he's always got the cigar.
Yeah.
And at one point, somebody slaps him on the back, and the cigar shoots out of his mouth, and he snatches it just in time and puts it back. And it was so well timed.
Yeah.
I had to watch it a few times around.
He does it in like three different movies. That cigar gag.
Yep.
Uh, I believe in the Rainmakers too, when he's on the train, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's one of his perennials, with the cigar. Um, but yeah, I agree. There are so many little moments, and you talk about that stairway and the crane going up, and you see the
Mm-hmm.
different floors and all that. Keaton did it in The Cameraman, and
Yeah.
Jerry Lewis got a lot of credit for doing it in The Ladies' Man, building
Mm-hmm.
the set and the camera going up and down.
Yeah. Even Laurel and Hardy used it in Blockheads.
Blockheads,
Used
yeah.
used it well in that one.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, so the Nitwits really, it may not be pre-code, but boy oh boy, it's one of their best movies, no
Mm-hmm.
doubt.
Yep.
Now, if you're taking notes, ladies and gentlemen, and you're not familiar with a lot of the things we're talking about, or you're not familiar with Wheeler and Woolsey's films, let me just say very quickly before we pass them by, the ones to watch are Rio Rita. Now, I'm not saying you should watch the whole movie because it really is a creaker, but get to their stuff. Their stuff is the best stuff they ever did. It's the best written material they ever had. So watch that one. The Cuckoos has some great color footage. It's not a great movie, but there's some great color footage and a few great musical numbers. Oh, How We Love Our Alma Mater is one of the best. Um, so that's a goodie. Um, I would skip the two public domain ones and go right to Hips Hips Hooray and
Hmm.
Cockeyed Cavaliers. I think that was their two in a row, and I think those are the most favorite of most of the people I know that love Wheeler and Woolsey. Those are the two favorites. In fact, they're two of my favorites as well. So write down Hips Hips Hooray, Cockeyed Cavaliers, The Nitwits, Diplomaniacs. Uh, it's tough after that. I really, I hate to say this, but I like Mummy's Boys, and I'm alone in that one. I think I'm the one person that likes that movie. And again, there's no song in it, and I should
Hmm.
hate it, but I don't. I love it. I love mummy movie. I just love movies that take place in Egypt,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
mummies and sarcophagi. I'm the sarcophagi. Uh, so yeah, I like that one. I like the Rainmakers. Dorothy hated it, but I like the Rainmakers. She liked the
Mm.
number she did with Bert under the Tree of Truth, where the
Yeah.
grapefruits keep falling on their heads every time they lie, which Abbott and Costello did in Pardon My Sarong,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
repeated it in Abbott and Costello Go to Mars.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, I'd start off with those movies. They're a lot of fun. Okay, so we're looking at the Nitwits. That's middle of the road. Now let's jump all the way to their final film. Why is it their final film? It's because Robert Woolsey, he's only what 48 at this point when they're filming this in late 1936.
Hmm.
They don't release it until early 1937, and Woolsey is already in bed by that time, and he's in bed
Mm.
for a full year. We're talking about, well, it's interesting. There's a controversy here. Just like with Shemp Howard, everybody thinks, oh, he had a heart attack in the middle of in the cab on the way home. No, he didn't. He had a stroke. He had a major stroke. Um, but with Woolsey, everybody thinks, I don't know, some people say pneumonia, some people say this, some people say that. Bert said that it was cirrhosis of the liver, that he
Mm.
used to drink himself to sleep every night. He had
Wow.
terrible insomnia and he would drink every single night. So I have a feeling Bert knew what he was talking about. There was also kidney failure, from what I understand. So he was
Hmm.
very sick. He knew he was dying.
Hmm.
Uh, and he passed away in 1938 at the age of 50.
Mm.
Boy, so this is their last film. It's called High Flyers, and it's 1937. The woman is Dorothy left a long time ago. It's it's Danny Thomas's sitcom wife, Marjorie Lord,
Yes.
uh, who I got to meet, although I forgot to ask her about Wheeler and Woolsey. But anyway, she was a very nice lady. Um, but she was Bert's leading lady. And I have to say, you could see that Woolsey is ill. He's puffy. His delivery is a little different. Uh, he's just a little slower on the uptake, and
Hmm.
you can tell. But he's heroic. I have to say, he's heroic. He's
Hmm.
dying. He's sick. He's in pain,
Yeah.
and you don't know that. You
Yeah.
know maybe there's a little something. Maybe he's got a little something. But no, he carries on like a hero. He really
Yeah.
does. And watching that movie, I'm just so proud of him. You know, the last day of shooting was the musical number he does with Lupe Velez, and it's incredible. He
Yes.
comports himself like nothing is wrong. Uh, he finishes up the number, and from what I understand, he went from that number to a car to his home, and that was it. It was bye bye. He never
Mm,
came back to the studio.
wow.
Uh, but boy, what a hero! What a trooper! That's it, trooper, a
Yeah.
pro,
Yeah.
and I gotta hand it to him. But that movie's got some real wonderful things in it for their last movie. No, it's no great shakes. It's a little annoying at times. Margaret Dumont has maybe the largest role I've ever seen her have. Uh, Seriously, she's in the Marx Brothers. It's
Yes.
like, yeah, you
Yes.
go back and forth. This movie, she's one of the main characters, and
Yep. Yep.
it's fun to see. It really is.
It is. It really
Yeah,
is.
she's partnered with Paul Harvey, the great Paul Harvey, and Marjorie Lord is their daughter, and the villain is one of my favorite actors of all time, Jack Carson, when he was still at the point
Yes.
where they didn't know what the hell to do with him at RKO. Thank God he went to Warner Brothers, where they finally, made him a star. Uh, but yeah, he's in this. And there's a few people. One of the most annoying actors in my experience, other than Roscoe Aites, who I can't stand, or Jack Pearl, who I can't stand, uh,
Hmm.
is a guy by the name of Charles Judels. He's a, he always plays an outraged foreign guy. Oh, he's bald and he's little. He's kind of chubby. He plays the same part in every movie. He always overdoes it, and he always annoys me. Uh, Boy, he shows up in a Bob Hope short before Bob Hope ever made a feature. He made short subjects for Warner Brothers
Hmm.
and or educational, in fact. And Charles Judels shows up in one of them, and I just want to strangle him. It's just shut up. But anyway, he's in this movie too. And there's a dog, a very annoying dog who steals things and buries them and whatever. Uh, but the highlight of the movie, other than Woolsey's number with Lupe
Yep.
Velez,
Yep.
is Bert's imitation of Charlie Chaplin. They got
Yes.
it on film. They did
Yes.
something right. And I'm talking about Hollywood, Hollywood in general, the same Hollywood that in the movie Always Leave 'Em Laughing with Milton Berle, right? Today's Bert Lahr's birthday. In fact, Bert Lahr is in
Yes.
that movie. And in the movie, they all of a sudden they start showing Bert Lahr's famous act, his vaudeville act, where he's the cop. Stop in the name of the station house. Stop in the name of the station house. All of that stuff. And they cut it short because Milton Berle walked in and they had to do a stupid scene. Show me the sketch. But that's what this is. They did the whole Charlie Chaplin thing with Bert, and he is just incredible.
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately, it leads into another blackface situation. But let's face it, folks, it was the 1930s, even the
Yeah.
1940s. It was accepted. It wasn't that
Hmm.
long before this that minstrel shows were the main form of entertainment in the United States.
Yeah.
So let's just cut them a little bit of a break. I
Hmm.
know it's odious and it's terrible and it should never be, but it was. And I can't change that, and neither can you, even though Jerry could. So
But I refuse.
I refuse to because this fuse just won't light. Give me another one. Okay. Uh, that was terrible. But anyway, so that's how I feel about High Flyers. It was a really good way to go out. Not a
Yeah.
great movie. Their budgets were cut by this time. The movies were not making as much money, and but they comported themselves beautifully. And I really think it's a movie you should watch. You might like
Yep.
it very much. What do you think, Jer?
I agree. I agree. I have to say, going into, I'd never seen it, didn't know anything about the
Oh,
film going into it.
nice.
And the title, High Flyers, I was kind of confused the first 5 minutes or so of the film because
Mhm.
everybody's in the water and swimming and there's boats. I
Yeah.
expected Esther Williams to show up at any moment, but it does get to the planes. We do actually go flying, so it does
And they
make
are
sense.
high at one point.
And they are, yes, they are.
There,
On,
ladies and gentlemen, there is a cocaine scene in the movie where the
I
boys get very, very high.
I actually wrote this down because yeah, they find these boxes full of powder that are labeled Parvadon.
Mhm.
I could find absolutely no reference as to what Parvadon
I
is
think they
or
made it up.
isn't.
I
I
think they
think
made it
so,
up. Yeah.
but
They
it's
couldn't say
definitely
cocaine.
it's in the cocaine family for sure. just
Yes.
judging from their reactions to it. Yes,
Well, the
his
same year,
chaplain.
Chaplin did one. Chaplin did a cocaine joke in Modern Times.
Yes, and speaking of Chaplin, Bert's Chaplin imitation. Not only was it a spot on imitation of Chaplin, he was doing some tricks with the derby, and I don't know how he did this one that he rolled it up his back onto
Hmm.
his head.
Yes.
How the heck did anyway?
Yeah.
Uh, and then the other, yeah, Margaret Dumont, obviously. This was released early 1937. Day at the Races came out in later in 37. And in this film, in High Flyers, there's a gaucho song where the lyric actually references Chico and Harpo
Oh,
with
yes.
the gaucho.
And she
Uh,
says Chico.
he does,
Uh-huh.
yes,
She doesn't say Chico. She says Chico, and she's Mexican.
yes.
Hmm.
That definitely caught my attention.
Before I forget,
Yes, yeah,
she also does a specialty where she imitates people. Lupe Velez. She
yes.
imitates Simone,
Mm-hmm.
Shirley Temple,
Yep.
and somebody else.
Hepburn.
Is it Katharine Hepburn?
I
I
think
don't
it's
remember, but
Katharine Hepburn.
she's really good. She's really, really good.
Yes,
But anyway, I just wanted to mention that
yes.
before we moved on.
Oh, but yeah, a solid three. I could be argued into three and a half, possibly even three and three quarters for this movie.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I liked it that much.
Oh boy.
And I have to say, Margaret Dumont has been a favorite of mine since well before the beginning of time.
Get in line, pal, because
Yeah, and
I love
I'm
Maggie.
always disappointed that she only has so much to do in this one and so much to do. And then, she shows up with Bud and Lou for a very brief period of time.
Very brief.
Her final movie, What a Way to Go with Shirley MacLaine and everybody else in the world.
I love that movie.
Again, just the slightest of roles, but
But she's
she
so
does so
good.
much with it. Yes.
She's so
And
good.
in this one, she shines. She's got
Yes.
so much to do. She shines. And
Hmm.
that, anyway,
And
there
this
we
is her
go.
second Wheeler and Woolsey movie.
Oh, really? I'm not
She was
aware.
also in Kentucky Colonels. She's the one that
Okay.
they adopt Spanky from.
I have not seen that one. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Woolsey's opening line is, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." Really? Do you think so? No, but I had to say something. That was the joke.
Yep.
I think I'm right. I think that was it. But it's something along those lines. Again, second-rate Groucho stuff, you know? You
Oh,
know.
actually, speaking of that, going back to Nitwits, I see a note here that I passed by when we were talking about it. At one point, Bob says to Bert, "You've got the brain of a 6-year-old boy," and
Uh,
then follows it up with a very lame follow up, as opposed to
And I'll bet he was
Marx
glad to get rid of
Brothers.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's my point. It's like they're close, but I,
Yes.
pardon the pun,
Yes.
but no cigar,
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
it's just not quite there.
Yeah.
It's like British chorus girls. They're just shy of gorgeous. That's not
Okay.
my assessment. That's a British girlfriend of mine actually made that
Yeah.
assessment.
Yeah.
Said
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
British chorus girls, as opposed to American chorus girls, who are
Yeah.
all sexy and beautiful, the British ones just miss. So I don't know what my point is, but still. Uh, so okay, my original thing here was analyzing their partnership, their characters.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now with Laurel and Hardy, I'm going to say that Stan, to me, is from outer space. He's an alien. Okay.
Yep.
He's landed on Earth. Ollie found him and has spent the rest of his life trying to understand him, getting angry with him, being impatient with him,
Yeah.
but he's us. Ollie is us.
Yes.
Uh, and that's why he's always looking at us. He's always conferring with us. Can you believe this? Uh, but he also, and this is even more important, the reason everything happens to Ollie, and it does, every bad thing happens to Ollie,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Stan sort of like floats through life, blankly. The difference is Ollie has an ego.
Mm.
Ollie is more human. he has an ego.
Yeah.
Stan doesn't have an ego, so he doesn't suffer. Ollie suffers because he has an ego. That's
Hmm.
my take on Laurel and Hardy. They're uh, perfectly fit together, but they come from two different places, and they do in real life as well. But I'm
Well,
saying
yeah.
that their characters themselves, you know, Ollie's looking at us and saying, "I don't know what planet this guy is from. I don't know how he just lit his thumb on fire. I just don't understand it. I'm going to try it, because I'm better than he is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then he
Yes.
gets taken down. That's Laurel
And
and Hardy.
that's the ego stepping in there. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right. It makes perfect
that's what it
sense.
is. With Bert and Bob, first of all, I want to mention The Rainmakers, which is a special favorite of mine. I don't know why. It just is. I just think it's a nice little film. I call it their Joey Brown film. It's like a small town America, good natured, all that stuff, all the good Joey Brown stuff. But there's a gag in this movie. First of all, their relationship in this movie. They meet for the first time in this movie. Bert is hiding out from a tornado in a shelter. And Woolsey is a rainmaker, and he's driving through this tornado. And a advertisement for the recently released King Kong, the face of the ape comes off the poster and lands on the windshield right in front of Robert Woolsey as he's driving. And of course, we get a whoa, and it's hilarious. It really is inspired. And I love the fact that they're meeting for the first time and they become friends and they become partners. And that's it. You
Yeah.
don't have to explain anything else. But I I think they're too, how can I put this? I think they're very manufactured. I think Woolsey is definitely intent on being this Groucho-like wise guy, and the
Uh-huh.
leader of the two of them. While Wheeler is pretty much, I just feel like I don't think he needs him. I think Wheeler would have been just as good on his own. I really think that. But let me go back now. In 1931, RKO said, you know what? These guys are very successful. They're making money for us. Let's split them up. Then we'll have two comedy stars and we can make even more money. With that thinking, they gave Burt Wheeler and Dorothy Lee their own movie, which is one of the dullest films you will ever watch in your life. And I'm not kidding. You want to get rid of relatives that are visiting too long? Put this movie on. You will see their backs so quickly as they clamor out of the room. Um, it's terrible. It's just terrible, and I don't know what they were thinking. There's not even a musical number between the two of them. It's awful. And Roscoe
What?
Aids has a large role in it, and right away, you know, not only will it keep the relatives away, but the roaches as well. Um, and then they gave Robert Woolsey, who appeared on Broadway with W.C. Fields, I told you, in Poppy.
Yep.
We gave him Poppy. They didn't call it Poppy. It was Al Boasberg, whose
Yeah.
reputation I find a little lacking. I grew up to think that he was a miracle man. He saved the
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
opera and blah blah blah. No, he was a decent gag writer. Couldn't write a script to save his life. This was awful. It was just awful. He plays Professor Droop or something, and he has a little daughter that he adopts, and she's Poppy, and he's W.C. Fields, but he's not.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this really backfired because it showed you just how lame he could be. You know, he's he's nowhere near the artistry of W.C. Fields. He's nowhere
Yeah.
near the humor
Yeah.
of W.C. Fields or the skill in any way of W.C. Fields. It's the better of the two movies, but it's awful. It's just awful. I can see all these Wheeler and Woolsey fans just like, biting their pens in half, you know, and spitting ink all over their computer screens. Uh, so, there's that. There are two movies, there are two solo movies. Um, okay, so what happens? Robert Woolsey, he passes away in 1938 at the age of 50. Bert is already on his own. He knew that Woolsey wasn't coming back and that he was going to be in bed all year in 1937 and into 1938. So he went off and did personal appearances and vaudeville, what was left of vaudeville, and things like that. But once Woolsey died, he tried to, I guess through the advice of his agent, to get more movies as a solo. It didn't
Yeah.
work. He went to Warner Brothers in 1939 and made the remake of Elmer the Great, Joey Brown's probably best movie.
Hmm.
They turned it from baseball to football, and it's really awful. It's really, really awful. Uh, oh boy. So that didn't work out. Warner Brothers didn't make another movie with him. In 1941, he went to Paramount, where what's his name? Walter, oh boy, the producer who loved them at RKO. I can't remember his name. He's a great comedy producer.
Hmm.
And he hired Burt to be the comedy lead in a movie called Las Vegas Nights. And it's Paramount, 1941. It's the first appearance of Frank Sinatra. He's with Tommy Dorsey's band.
Mm.
Uh, and Burt has a new partner. And his new partner is funnier than Robert Woolsey. I'm sorry, but I have a feeling that if they stuck together and they made movies together, they would have been successful. Hank Ladd, Ladd is his name.
Mm.
And the two of them are so funny together. And later I found out that Hank Ladd had quite a career, away from Burt Wheeler. Burt Wheeler used a lot of straight men in his act. Jackie Gleason was one.
Mm.
Another one was Paul Douglas, the character actor, when he was still a radio announcer. He would do live appearances in nightclubs with Burt. But anyway, Frank Ladd was a comedy writer as well. He shows up on different shows. He's on the Jackie
Mm.
Gleason show. He was a writer for Jackie Gleason. He shows up in Jerry Lewis's The Errand Boy as one of the movie executives. So he had a
Wow.
career. He just can't, his timing was bad. I think the timing was bad for when he made his big splash. But they are funny together, and Bert is very funny. He gets to sing a great song, Dolores. Um, Dolores and Dolores, I, Dolores. Big hit at the time. Uh, so that was a movie, but it didn't lead to anything else because
Hmm.
Bert's heart wasn't in it. He wanted
Yeah.
to go back to New York and he wanted to do Broadway. And that's what he did. Eventually, he did a show with Frank Fay. It was like an old vaudeville type of thing. I think Star and Garter, I think it was. And it was like a burlesque type of show.
Hmm.
And he eventually replaced Frank Fay in Harvey. He played
Mm.
Elwood P. Dowd. And from what I
Oh.
understand, he was wonderful. Yeah, Joey Brown did too, by the way. And
Huh.
out of all of them, I would have liked to see him play Elwood. I
Yeah.
actually played Elwood in Harvey as well.
Ah.
Um, so yeah, and then Bert, oh, I guess he never had any money. He was always broke. He was always spending too much. At one point, when he went back to California, I think to do that Brave Eagle show. And with the
Hmm.
money he made, he bought a RV and he drove it back to the New York area. He actually stopped on the cliffs of New Jersey and he lived there for a while until
Huh.
he got established in New York again. He was living in his RV. So
Yeah.
anyway, so Bert, he was kind of a charity case. They gave him his own room at the Lambs Club. He had a one like a studio.
Hmm. Hmm.
So he lived there free of charge. Um, and eventually he died of, he was a big
Mm.
smoker. And he was up at Saranac, New York, at the place where people with emphysema would go. It was the Will Rogers place.
Hmm.
And he passed away there from emphysema. And
Mm.
that was 1968. I believe he was 72 years old. And he was working, he did this old lady act. He dressed as an old lady and he worked with Tommy Dillon, who was the head of the Catholic Actors Equity Union. And they toured together and they did cruise ships together.
Huh.
And the act is actually on YouTube on Ed Sullivan. It's Bert and Tom Dillon. Uh, and Bert is dressed as this horribly horrible old lady costume. It's terrible, but it's very funny. It's a funny act, and they end with a great song. The two of them they harmonize. It's terrific. Bert shows up on the Pat Boone show. He does a guest spot there. He just shows up here and there, Bert
Yeah.
Wheeler.
Yeah.
He's also on a show called The Defenders. He has a nice role in one of the
Oh.
episodes. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, he got around, he worked, but mostly, like I said, he was a stage animal, and that's what he enjoyed most of all.
Hmm.
So that really is the story of Wheeler and Woolsey and how we feel about their films. Anything you want to add as far as that before I move on to one more thing?
No, no, we've pretty much covered it, and I love all the backstory that you provide for
Oh, thank
these
you.
individuals as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Uh, okay, somebody wrote, apparently they were watching the Groucho Day on Turner Classics yesterday, and the
Hmm.
very first movie they showed at 6 a.m. was MGM's Big Parade of Comedy.
Of course they did.
Yes. And just that title alone is enough to make people in the know retch. Uh, MGM, the
Are you
comedy.
sure? Are you sure it wasn't just a two-reeler?
No, it was MGM's Big Parade of comedy. If it was MGM, the parade lasted 2.5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yes,
there's the parade.
yes,
Oh, there goes the parade. Sorry. Um, but they wanted me to talk about this compilation.
yes.
And I will be honest with you, when I was about 11, maybe 9 years old, we were at my Aunt Mary's house. It was getting late. We had to get home. It was a Saturday night. And all of a sudden, this movie came on. And all the parents said, "What's this?" Everybody sat down again. Nobody went home. And we all watched the MGM Big Parade of Comedy. But it was
Wow.
wonderful because I was watching it with people who were there and
Yeah, yeah,
were
yeah.
commenting and saying, "Oh, yes, I remember this," or "Oh, that guy was so funny," and blah, 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 blah. So, we got to see everybody, all our favorites, and we got to see people that were their favorites as well. So the movie worked on that level.
Uh-huh.
Since then, I've seen it a few times, and I have to say, I know it's a Robert Youngson production, and he made some
Hmm.
wonderful films before this. Uh, who told him he was a songwriter? I mean,
Oh,
oh my God. That when they bring up Robert Benchley was a funny man was he. The reason he was a funny man, because he was just like you and me. I want to like throw up all over,
ay, ay,
Robert
ay.
Youngson. Sorry. It's just, and some of the choices he made as far as the clips were, questionable, I'd
Yeah.
say. But you get to see Buster Keaton, you get to see Abbott and Costello and Rio Rita. There's some good footage of them. They do the whole Wheeler and Woolsey thing with the bottle of booze from
Hmm.
Rio Rita. Um, but then you have most of the train ride from Go West, and that's when I turned it off. I just
Hmm.
can't sit through it anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
Go West is like it makes me scratch. It's just even the Buster Keaton Go West I don't like, but the
Hmm.
Marx Brother Go West is just And again, people get on me for the oh no, it's a good movie. I like it.
Yeah.
Fine, if you like it, that's fine. I'm glad you like it, but I don't. Um, but that's just my opinion, right?
As I always say to people in these kind of situations, that's why Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors.
That's right. That's right. All right. So MGM, Big Creative Comedy. That's what I think about it.
Yeah.
I think it was about time to end those compilations. Uh,
Yes.
but I enjoyed Golden Age of Comedy and Days of Thrills
Hmm.
and Laughter was fun.
Yeah.
They're good. The Laurel and Hardy ones are fun.
Yeah.
Uh, but this one, MGM comedy, they sort of cancel each
Speaking,
other out. Yeah.
they do. They do.
Hmm.
Speaking of short excerpts of comedy, you had asked me to remind you
Yes.
about the shortest version of Who's on First. Is that
I
what you were
just found
referencing?
it. I just found it on YouTube. It was
Okay.
presented by Kevin Brownlow, and he put it on YouTube. And wait a minute, I'll just play it for you. Hold on. Strange as it may seem, Lou, they give ball players very funny names. Nicknames? Yeah, it's like who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third. Oh, you mean the names of the guys are who, what, and I don't know? That's right. Oh, okay. And that's it. That's all we have. I believe Bud slapped him, but it was cut off before that. And so that is just for everyone's edification. That is the final version of Who's on First.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair
So
enough.
thank you for asking
Fair
for
enough.
that, Jerry. I will never let you forget that. And
I will never forget that either.
hey, it was short. Okay. At least it was short.
At least that. Yes, it was.
All right. So that's it, folks. We have given you what you've asked for. We had a lot of requests for these guys. Now, I have two announcements to make. Number one, I've been in touch with Matthew Coniam, my co-author on the annotated Abbott and Costello, and he
Yes.
says, just let me know when you want me. I'll be there.
Woohoo!
So let's think about that, Jerry. But
Yep.
in the meantime, we've gotten two more requests. Number one, the Ritz brothers. People want to know about them. And number two is the Bowery Boys.
Oh,
So Jerry, I'm going to send you a couple of links to some movies that you have to see that are indicative of the long 48 films of the Bowery Boys.
wow.
48 of them
Yes. Yes.
over a 10-year period. No, longer than that, 12 years. And so we will get to the Bowery Boys as well, a comedy team, Leo Gorsey and Hunts Hall, that I find funnier than Martin and Lewis, and actually a lot of other comedians out there. I
Yep.
just think they're wonderful. Okay, and maybe we can get a few words from Leo's daughter, Brandy, who's a dear friend of mine,
Mm.
and her husband, Tom. They're just wonderful people, and I'll try and get them involved somehow. But in the meantime, that's all the time we have. And
Okay.
Jerry, I just want to say that welcome home. I hope you are
Thank you.
not affected by the fires that are going
No,
on there. That's
no,
wonderful.
we are safe. Other than the smoke.
Wonderful. Seriously. And just be
Yep.
careful about the breathing and all that, because that's
Yes.
the hell of it. That's the hell of it. I was in LA forever, and that was one of the worst things
Mm.
were those fires. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've all been thinking about you and wishing you well, and your
Thank you.
wife and your son and all that. So just stay safe, and just don't breathe for the next 2 weeks.
I'll try that.
Okay, you try that. Wait a minute, you're turning blue. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Oh my God, here's Gargamel. 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 Oh no, he's not a Smurf. He's not, I promise. Uh, I've never watched a Smurfs episode. How come I know that the villain was Gargamel or Gargamel? That could be a cereal, Gargamel. I have Gargamel with milk. Yeah.
Yes, from Post.
Was that his name? Gargamel?
Gargamel.
Gargamel. Gargamel Brooks.
Gargamel. Yes.
Yeah.
Voiced by Paul Winchell.
Oh,
And that's
Paul
a
Winchell. Boy, do I have some.
whole nother podcast there.
Oh
Paul
boy,
Winchell.
I have
But anyway.
some backstories about him that would shock
Ooh.
you. Oh, seriously, you would be shocked. I was.
Definitely a whole nother podcast then. We'll put that on the back
Definitely.
burner for another episode.
Yes, definitely. Oh yeah, believe me, I know about Paul Winchell. Okay, so that's that, folks. We hope you enjoyed this. I know there wasn't much Abbott and Costello here, but you could listen to some old podcasts. We are moving on. We are diversifying, and we hope you enjoy that. We want to get to a lot of classic comedians that Jerry and I admire, and hopefully you admire as well. So we'll see you next time. We hope you enjoyed this. And Jerry, all the best to you, my friend. Welcome home. Great job on your Wizard of Oz excursion. And I'm looking forward to hearing what the next one is. I'm living vicariously through you. And that's why I'm so bored. Okay. Okay, kids, everybody take care of yourselves. Thank you for listening. Jerry, thank you for being here. And
Thank you.
Everybody, take care. Lots of love and enjoy.